Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan, and in this video we're going to be breaking down the AFC West, which could possibly be the best division in football this year.
To me, I think it is the best division in football as I look at it. Just very quickly, there are some other competitive divisions out there, like the other West division, the NFC West. You could throw in the AFC North as well. They got a lot of good teams in there. The NFC South, there are more. But right now, we want to break down the AFC West. That consists of the Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers, and that was the order that they were in last year. The Chiefs were 12-4, won the Super Bowl. The Broncos were 7-9, along with the Raiders, also 7-9. The Chargers were 5-11. So let's start at the top of the division. Really quickly, just talk about the Chiefs, and we can go down, and then we'll talk about the division as a whole.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Kansas City, that team. The difference between that team last year and their team 2 years ago was their defense. The reason they didn't win, or they didn't win or even make it to Super Bowl 53 was because they didn't have a good enough defense, and that's why they lost the AFC title game to the Patriots, and that's why they couldn't get there. But then they made some additions, they got better on defense, and then they finally got over the hump, got back to the Super Bowl, and won it last year for the first time, and I think it was 50 years, I think, that the Chiefs broke their drought, because I think their last one was like Super Bowl 4 or something. And a lot of that team is still there. They didn't really change that much. Of course, there's the draft and free agency, but they didn't really have a lot of key departures. Obviously, there's the uncertainty with Rashad Breeland because he had a little off-the-field issue. But they really still have their core in place, and it seems like they have potential to be one of the next great dynasties in the NFL, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs, they're a team that has almost gotten better over time. Someone said Kansas City. I meant to say Patrick Mahomes, but you could basically say Kansas City because he's Kansas City Pat right now. They love him there in Kansas City. He's getting better with time. The receivers are getting better with time. And, yes, you know I'm going to talk about it. Now, first thing I'm saying, here it is. I'm talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You knew I was going to talk about him. This is a guy that reminds me of Mark Ingram. Some people say Darren Sproles. Maybe even Jordan Howard, who is with EDP and the Eagles now, has moved on to the Dolphins. So I just really, really love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You go back, watch videos. I talk him up completely. I love the guy. I think he's going to make this offense so much better and improve an offense that was already so fiery. The defense also is getting better as well.
Yeah, You guys really covered the Chiefs team well. I mean, just dominant to describe them in one word. Let's go down to the division now, to the Broncos. We did a deep dive video about the Broncos, so if you're a Broncos fan watching this video, make sure to go check that out. We're just talking about your team the entire video.
Drew Lock.
Yeah, Drew Lock. And let's start with talking about Drew Lock now, because he has a really high ceiling to me. And I think we saw a lot of that in his rookie year.
Yeah.
As Jordan's looking up at the ceiling. And you can see Drew Lock's part right there. See how high that ceiling is over there?
It's
you guys can't see it, but that's Drew Lock right there.
It's the same height all around. You're lying to them.
Just go with it. Okay, so
I get it now. We haven't been at the table in a while, so, we get a little antsy now that all three of us are here.
Yeah.
So.
This is getting out of hand. Now there's three of us.
Yes. Okay. So the rest of the Broncos offense, we could talk about we talked about them already. So once again, just go watch that video. We talked about their receivers, their improvement at that position, and their entire defense. But I do want to get to the overview and focus mainly on that. So let's head over to the Raiders now and talk about them. Who wants to start?
I'll talk a bit about the Raiders, I guess. They're a very, very interesting team. They are absolutely in rebuild mode. When John Gruden went there under a 10-year coaching contract, which seemed crazy, but that's what he got. The goal was for him and Mike Mayock, the general manager, who was a great scout before. The goal for the two of them was to rebuild this team. In the first few years, they weren't going to be good. They basically knew that, but they're rebuilding this team to be something great. They put a lot of different players on this team now. They got some new guys. I'm a believer in Derek Carr. They did bring in Marcus Mariota just for a backup. We'll see how the quarterback situation works. That's a position that's very important with that team. But also the wide receivers getting better. Really, that whole offense skill positions are getting better with Josh Jacobs, the wide receivers. I know Ryan likes Hunter Renfrow on that team. Darren Waller's really good. And then they got the speedster Henry Ruggs, the first wide receiver off the board, which all three of us agree shouldn't have happened, but they wanted the speed. So that's my breakdown of the offense.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add with Henry Ruggs, I think he got in a little bit of an accident helping his friend move or something, where like his something got caught like in between. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't.
Oh, you didn't hear about this? You heard about
Yeah.
this, right? Like what happened? He was helping a friend move, and like his
and-
leg got caught in between a truck
Yeah.
and something. So I don't know how severe it is, but you wonder if that 4.27 speed will still be there. Not too
Well,
concerned.
I think he's still gonna be pretty fast.
Well, I know, but it's just
You're
given
right.
all this,
That's gonna have an impact, but by the time we get to the season, he's got a lot of time to rest now.
I know, especially now.
Yeah. All right. So, and they also once again another improving defense. Let's go to the Chargers now. Last place in the division. Just 2 years ago, though, this was a very good team.
Yeah.
They were in the running to get first in the division. The Chiefs took that, I believe. That year is very close. And then they kind of stank it up in their final game in the playoffs. But before that, they did make it to the divisional round, I believe.
But they beat Baltimore.
Yeah. So they went 5-11 last year. It was a huge decline, but looking at the roster, there's a lot of talent on this team, and I really think that they should be a lot better this year.
And remember last year, the Chargers were a team that people were predicting Super Bowl for. You saw a lot of predictions. They always are a dark horse team. You're absolutely correct about that. But they've made so many great adjustments to their team this year. We could just talk about the draft, at least their first round. I don't know out of that, but they had a very good first round, in my opinion. First off, they got their quarterback, Justin Herbert, the guy that I know Ryan really, really likes. I think we all like him. That Ryan is higher on him than we all, or the other two of us here are.
Yeah.
And then they also traded it back into the first round to get K9, Kenneth Murray. Me and Ryan both love Kenneth Murray. We think he's a great player. He flies around the field. And also another defensive move that they made that I think is really good is they got Chris Harris, right from the Broncos, who we were talking about earlier. They got him in free agency, so to help that secondary. And don't forget about Derwin James, one of the better safeties in the league, maybe the best safety in the league. Jamal Adams and Derwin James, I think, are competing for that right now.
Yeah. And then one thing I want to say about the Chargers, yes, they went 5-11 last year, but I feel like they lost a lot of close games in that 1 year, a couple years ago, where they were really good. And they went like 11-5 or 12-4, whatever. They won a lot of close games. So you wonder, were they just on the wrong end of all these close games, or did they really get a lot worse? I think they just were on the wrong end of a lot of one possession games. Fun fact about them: they're the only team in the NFL. They're the only team in the NFL that plays 16 road games a year. So that's a little fun fact about them. So they have
not anymore though.
We don't know for sure yet.
Still, come on. I doubt much will change. But yeah, that's a little fun fact about them. So they kind of have an uphill battle.
The new
before
stadium,
it starts.
people are going to show up regardless of if they're fans of the Chargers.
Yeah, people will show up. But yeah, like, hey,
fans.
they got a new stadium. Let's go watch my team play there.
No, just watch a team, not their team. Because all their fans are down south, even more south than where they are in San Diego. All right. So there we was talking about all four of the teams.
We're
not done yet.
I want to talk about the Chargers for a second, just a little bit more.
Going.
I just wanted to mention a few more names. I like Keenan Allen, the wide receiver.
Yes.
On the offense, we talked about Justin Herbert. It'll be interesting to see how that all factors in. They also have Tyrod Taylor on that team at quarterback position, so we'll see who gets to start with that. But another guy that I know Tyler likes because he was on his fantasy team. I always love to talk about fantasy. And here it is again. Austin Eckler. I think he's going to be a great running back this year. He's going to have a standout year. He's great in the running game and the passing game. When Melvin Gordon was out last year, Austin Eckler was doing it all, getting a bunch of receptions. If you play in a PPR league, he'd definitely be pretty good. I don't play in a PPR league, but I still know about it. Yeah. Anyways, that's just my extra additions to Chargers.
Okay, so now there was the four teams that we all discussed. Now for the overview of this entire division. To me, you could argue if it's the best division or not, but I don't think there's much of an argument to say this is at least the most competitive division where all four teams have a shot at being at the either one or two position. There's really not one team that you go, this is not their year. You could definitely see all the teams having a huge spark and trying to get to the playoffs and maybe making a push for it.
Yeah, this division will definitely send multiple teams to the playoff. I think there will be at least one wild card from this division, and it's not crazy to say there could be more.
Yeah.
Hey, now under the new format, a whole division can make the playoffs, so who knows? That'd be very unlikely, but now it could happen.
Yeah. And then, what was I going to say? I was going to say that I think the Chiefs, it's almost guaranteed they're making the playoffs, right?
Yes.
I think we could say that across the board. But then we go to the rest of the three teams, the Broncos, Raiders, and the Chargers. Those teams could kind of be anywhere There's a lot of high expectations for this team. That's why we talk about how maybe all the teams could make the playoffs because they could all be very good. But who knows? Maybe the Raiders will slump again. Maybe the Chargers will slump again. Maybe the Drew Lock won't get it started. There's a lot of variables in this AFC West right now with other teams besides the Chiefs. They're all building up to try to beat the Chiefs, who just won the Super Bowl, by the way. So it's really going to be, and I know Tyler likes to talk about fight fire with fire. They're upgrading these offenses, but they also are getting some defensive help in there as well. Everyone in that division is chasing the Chiefs, and why not chase the Chiefs who just won the Super Bowl?
No, there is like an absolute forest fire going on in this division. To continue the analogy, because it's just I was just trying to think of a situation where there is a lot of fire. Because it starts with the Chiefs, and the Broncos come with their weapons, and then the Raiders get Henry Ruggs and they add to it. And the Chargers got Justin Herbert now and looking to develop that offense. They still have Keenan Allen, who's one of the more underrated wide receivers in the league. Especially at this wide receiver position, this is just so much flames going at each other. And it's going to be an offense explosion, I think, for every team in this division, almost every single game they play. And especially in their head-to-head matchups. Those are games that I believe later on in the season we could see pushed to primetime television. Because the teams will have shown that they are good enough to be there, and when they go head-to-head, we're going to see some really good offenses regardless. The only one I don't know that would come out right away would be the Chargers, depending on if Justin Herbert is in or not. But once he gets in, I'm assuming he will at some point, look for that to be electric, and if Derek Carr can get things going, that'll be electric as well. And Drew Lock has already got things going, so there's not much to worry about in that department.
Yeah.
Well, there is still stuff to worry about.
He's still got to prove it, but I think he will.
Yeah.
You saw a glimpse of it last year. I think he went 4-1 as a starter. So
yeah. So, I mean, let's not discredit the defenses in this division either. There are some good ones. But to me, I look at the AFC West.
I mean, look at the Broncos. Their head coach is a defensive guy, Vic Fangio.
He's one of the only defensive-minded coaches in the NFL now. It seems like everyone's going offense.
Yeah.
You know, so
offense.
That's right.
It's the trend.
It is. But I mean, the Broncos are making it work. It wasn't good early on in the season, but they seem to figure things out. And this is once again a division where I think all four teams could figure it out and make a push for the playoffs. We're really excited to see that. So if you guys have anything else to add, please do. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap this puppy up.
Yeah, I have something else to add.
Let's hear it.
2 + 2 = 4.
Aha.
Good point. Good point.
Thanks, Luke.
Okay.
What's adding?
So, what a way to end the video.
You want to know 3 + 2 is 5, and 3 + 4?
7.
Tyler, end it now.
Right.
That's how many wins the Broncos and Raiders got.
Yep.
Put
And
it
8
all
+
together.
8,
That's the Cowboys
16.
and that's how many games each team plays.
for this year.
Not for long. Alright, anyways, there was your math lesson for the day. So, even though it's summer, you still get your
You
math.
do some multiplication too, if you guys
Yes. Okay, now thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, comment your opinions down below. Make sure you do your math problems over the summer.
Equals Super Bowl.
Oh, I was going to say 150.
Okay, so another great note to end it. And with that note, we will see you guys later.
See ya.